recently got a huge update on AEW Fight Forever. As y'all know, when the game came out, it just felt like it wasn't finished. It was bare bones, and it felt like it was missing a lot of features that we were expecting to be in there on day one. A lot of wrestlers, too. It turns out the team actually wanted to push the game back forward, but AEW said they did not have the budget to do so. Before we get into the next part of the story, I got to know what y'all think about that part. Kiddo, should they have pushed it back, or was that the right time to release it?
Well, honestly, there's a very famous saying by some Japanese person, some Japanese game developer. I cannot remember his name, but I'm sure someone in the comments will point it out. As he says, you know, a bad game released as a bad game is gonna be forever a bad game. So that's my take on it as well. Like, yeah, they spend a hell of a lot of money, a lot more time than they ever thought they would, but they should have pushed it back. They should have pushed it back when they had that content. The wrestlers, like even that you can see in the graphics, like some wrestlers look great, some wrestlers look super weird, like they're from a different game. Almost the style is different. When you had everything under control, even if it took you 2 more years, which would have been horrendous, like a gruesome wait for us, you should have made sure that when the game came out, boom, hit right on target, right? Luke Skywalker hitting that, Star Destroyer or whatever, just right on target. That should have been it, because we always say this, all of us in the channel, but first impressions are everything. And I think even the devs themselves might be in this interview. They said like, oh, yeah, when the first game came out, because of its state, it almost felt like it was dead on arrival. And that's unfortunately, it was the impression for most people. But fellas, what do you guys think?
Yeah, so for me personally, I agree. I think they should have pushed it back. Before the game came out, yes, I was one of the guys who were like, yo, what's going on? When's this game coming out? When are we
Yeah.
going to get it? But my problem was they weren't giving us any news or any updates. They just weren't saying anything. Like all of these rumors were coming out, like the game's getting pushed back because of this. The game is not going to come out because of this. Now GCW took the title of the game, like, and we just weren't getting any confirmation. So
Right.
that was the big frustrating part. But if they came out and said, listen, we're trying to make the best wrestling game you ever played. Even if it's just hyperbole, whatever. We need some more time to cook this thing up. I would not have been mad. I would have waited. You know what? Just give us something every month or something like that to let us know what's going on. I think that would have been fine, but they just were completely disappearing and ended up just rushing the game out in a month when we finally got some type of information. Brian, what do you think about the way this game was rolled out, and do you think they should have held it back for, let's say, another year? Would you have been able to wait to see what we were getting with this?
Oh yeah, that would have given us another year to cook as content creators. I mean, once this game came out, we the stove turned off. You know what I'm saying? So I think it would have been good. I think that the article also said they showed gameplay too early, which is what really hurt them, because people were like, all right, game looks ready. Where's this game at? They should have not showed anything. And I think that's what ultimately cost them. And now we're here. We're seeing this game and we know what it is now. I mean, I knew it was a problem when they were talking about we're gonna add match types post launch. Like I felt like there should have been more in the game, especially when you were charging that much for it. And I've emphasized that so much. You charged us like this was a AAA game, when in reality all it was an arcade style game. I'm not sitting here and say that the gameplay is bad, but the lack of stuff in the game made it seem like it just wasn't worth the $60, $70 that people were spending, or $80 if you bought the Elite Edition. So I 100% think this game should have been pushed back, and I think we would have been having a very different conversation right now if it was pushed back, and I think that's what it was ultimately missing.
Yeah, I completely agree. I don't think the gameplay or anything like that in the game is bad at all, but create a wrestler, the way we got it, in the state we got it, was just unacceptable. Not having the match types, and still we don't have those match types in the game, that's unacceptable as well. I feel like if they
Season
did
4, come
back,
on.
yeah. So, I mean, if they did push it back and if they took more time to get this game ready, I don't care. Blow the budget, because first impression is everything. Now, if they come out with another game, people are going to be like, oh, well, we saw the first one. This is going to be the same thing. If this game had those things, like a good creator wrestler doesn't even have to be the best in the world, as long as it's good. If this game had the match types we expected, I think there was a chance this could have gone right up there and bumped head to head with 2K. Not as far as sales or things like that, but you could have had just as much people standing up for it, because as I said before, while it does need some work, I think the in-ring gameplay in this thing is actually better than the 2K games. I don't know if these guys agree with me. I'm probably sure Brian does not agree with me, but that's just the way I feel about it. Now, it looks like they are not done yet. AEW Fight Forever, I believe Zadie confirmed on Discord that season 4 is coming, but whoever this sneaky developer or whatever who was giving out this information, I believe the name was redacted, but they said AEW wants to come out with another game.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't know if they want Ukes to make that game. AEW apparently purchased the engine that the game runs on, so they own it. So if another team can actually take this thing and build a game out of it, I don't know if they would have to recode it. I saw some people saying that another team wouldn't be able to make another game out of this engine. I don't know. I don't make games, so I can't tell you how that would work. But Kiddo, would you like to see another game with this same engine? Or if they come out with another game, would you like to for them to just scrap this and make something completely brand new?
See, that's scary. That brand new thing could be horrible because, I mean, besides Ukes, really, who else is making wrestling games? There's Spike Chunsoft. That's the only person, like the studio I can come up with right now, or the publisher, or whatever. Ukes, even right now in 2K24, Ukes' DNA is all over that. Like, it's still the repurposed engine from Ukes. Right, so like for 20 years, more than 20 years, maybe every single wrestling game that we have come out, it's been heavily influenced by that. And if it's not that, then it's Aki games, which are, sure, they're different, but when you look at the structure, the way you grapple, strong attacks, it's still kind of the same thing as Ukes, like very close. And so, like, say EA picked this up, like what company is going to pick it up? There's tons of questions now. EA, will they be able to understand wrestling? Will they care? Will they even have more microtransaction than 2K does right now? Like, I was scared of AEW doing with their shop. It's like, oh, you want to get a new MJF skin? Here's $10 you got to pay. Like, I was scared of stuff like that. Like, that could be that's definitely going to be a reality if EA picks it up. Is EA going to pick it up, or are we going to have another, smaller publisher like a THQ Nordic pick it up? And who else is there? Like, there's so many questions. It's kind of like maybe, but then you look at what they're doing. Mortal Kombat is like, okay, here's 5 wrestlers, but payoffs 50, maybe not 50, but yeah. I mean, I would like to see them try, because WB, I think they're on a bit of a downward spiral right now. Like, they're trying to even sell themselves to somebody because the company is kind of going bad. But dude, I mean, like, again, no disrespect to Ukes or THQ, but it's going to be a level up as far as the publisher goes. Like, they're going to have a lot more money. I'm not sure, actually. I'm not sure. Like, we have Tony Khan. Kenny, you talked about the game not coming out. You said blow the budget. Yeah, like, if you're going to blow the budget on any game, blow it on AEW Fight Forever. Tony has an endless amount of money. So regardless of what happens, this second game coming out, I don't know if it's going to be good. I can't really predict that right now. It's like, they just said, we want to do this. If there's a possibility, we definitely want to do it. We're going to come out with the second game. Will there be a possibility? I think Tony Khan looks at it very warmly too, because he's, Vince McMahon wouldn't care, but Tony, I think, is a gamer too. So I think we're definitely getting a second game. I can make that prediction sometime, maybe 5 years from now. But the game itself, I just don't know. It's just way up in the air. But with how damaged the what do you call it, the relationship between Ukes and AEW, it seems like the management was just such a mess. Ukes might not want to do another wrestling game. But at the same time, what else is Ukes going to do?
Yeah, right. What else are they going to do? And with what other company? I mean, you can do a game with New Japan, but it's not going to get as much eyes or hands as AEW would. But the scary thing about that is people are saying, like, yeah, they should get somebody else to make the game. But WWE tried that before. We look at what we got with WWF Raw on the Xbox, was not good. WWF Raw 2 was not good. WWF WrestleMania 21 on Xbox was not good. They had different teams making these other wrestling games, and they just were not coming out good. Who made Day of Reckoning? Do y'all remember?
Great question. GameCube game. I think it was published by THQ still. What about WrestleMania 19? That was a good game too.
19, I think the same team that made Day of Reckoning made that. It was THQ, but I think it was like a toy box or something. I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. But that's the scary thing. If Ukes doesn't make this game, who makes it? And I don't know if we want EA to touch it.
I mean, you look at the UFC, but I can confirm that THQ and Ukes made Day of Reckoning
Oh,
too.
okay. Got it.
So yeah, see, it's always been them, right? So whatever we get with a different publisher, it's gonna be completely different, and it could be the best thing ever because hey, oh my God, these guys actually love wrestling and they understand it. But more
Yeah.
than likely, it seems to me that it's like gonna be a couple of business suits. Okay, wrestling game, how can we make the most money? I don't care about the rocks, all the details about the rock. No, what makes me more money? And
Yeah.
then we get this abomination of a game.
Right. I think you just keep Ukes despite whatever happened. They had to build the engine from scratch back then, and I'm sure that's where a lot of the budget went. But now you got the engine. That team understands the engine, so just let them build on top of it. I think they can actually come out with a really good game because AEW Fight Forever was not a bad game. It just wasn't a finished game, and I think if we give them another shot, I think they can definitely come up with something good.
Yes, I think that was down to management, 100% down to management. Fix the management, give them some time, as much time that they need to have, because wrestling isn't going anywhere, presumably. And boom, like hit it, man. Make sure on that release, nobody can say a bad thing about the game, and you won. There you go.
Right, right. I mean, they've done it before. Ukes, same team that gave us the SmackDown versus Raw games, right? Of
Yeah.
course, some people aren't with them anymore. Shout out to Corey Ledesma, bro. I think we might need you back. Forgive us for the bad thing we said about you in the past. But AEW Fight Forever taught 2K24 everything we love about it. Let's talk about it, Brian.
Listen, man. AEW Fight Forever. They got to go with a new developer. 100%. You got to go with a new developer, man.
I think so, bro.
Juke saying it. Juke saying it, man. I think, and we obviously know they can build a good wrestling game, but I think, like Hero said, the relationship is damaged. So I think right now, you got to get a new developer in there, and just I think you start fresh. You scrap that engine and you start all over again.
Hey, people
You-
plan on getting divorces all the time, and they cancel that divorce, so the relationship can be fixed.